The night was quiet on the outer colony of Veganine. Cold winds moved through the metal streets, whispering between tall buildings made of glass and steel. Lights flickered from the old towers that once belonged to the Earth Federation. Now, most of the buildings stood empty. People had stopped trusting the government long ago. Inside one of those buildings, a man named Elias Ward sat alone in a dark room. He was a data technician, someone who repaired broken systems for a living. But tonight, his work was different. He had received a strange message earlier that day from an unknown sender. The message had only one line: "If you want to know the truth, check the hidden folder inside Archive 17. Elias didn't believe in conspiracies. He had seen too many false stories in his time. But something about this message felt real. Maybe it was the way the text was written, cold and direct. Maybe it was the code at the end of the message, a code that only high-level officers use to hear open his old terminal. The blue light shining on his tired face. His fingers moved fast on the keyboard. After a few commands, he entered the secure network. Layers of defense programs blinked before him, but Elias was good at breaking through. It took him less than 10 minutes to find the path to Archive 17. The file inside was locked, but not for long. Elias decrypted it carefully, line by line, until the screen opened. There was a single document inside, named Dossier HX11. Elias hesitated for a moment. Then he clicked it. The screen filled with old reports, images, and voice logs. The first report was from the year 2189. The time when humans made first contact with an alien race known as the Corans. The file said the meeting had gone well, that peace had been formed. But the dossier told a different story. The voice log began to play. It was an officer's voice, nervous and broken. "This is Captain Arlen Hayes. Date the 24th of June, 2189. The Corans are not what they seem. They want access to our gene data. They say it's for peace, but they are lying. I have seen what they do with their own. If someone finds this, please warn Earth." Elias froze. He had learned about the Corans in school, the great allies of humanity, the reason for the new age of technology. If this log was real, then everything people believed was a lie. He kept reading. Another image appeared, a photo of a Coran scientist standing beside a human body. The human looked ... wrong. His skin was pale, his eyes empty. The caption said, Subject 12, Hybrid Attempt. Elias felt his stomach turn. He scrolled faster, opening more files. There were reports of secret experiments, missing soldiers, and mind control technology. And at the bottom of one file was something even stranger: coordinates of a hidden base on the dark side of the Vega moon. Suddenly, the lights in his room flickered. His computer made a sharp sound, then froze. A new message appeared on the screen. Unauthorized access detected. Stay where you are. Elias's heart raced. He quickly pulled out the power core, shutting everything down. The room went dark again. Outside, he could hear something. The sound of engines, maybe drones. He ran to the window and looked down. 2 black hovercrafts had landed near the street. Men in armored suits stepped out, their helmets glowing with red sensors. Federation security. They had found him. Elias grabbed a small drive from his desk, the same one he used for backups. He had already copied part of the dossier before the shutdown. He stuffed the drive into his jacket and ran to the back door. The metal door opened with a loud creak, and cold air hit his face. He could hear voices behind him, electronic and sharp. Target inside the building. Move in. Elias ran into the narrow streets, his boots splashing in puddles. His breath came fast, his mind spinning. What had he just uncovered? Why was the Federation hiding the truth about the Corans? A bright light flashed above. A drone had found him. It sent out a red beam that scanned the area. Elias ducked into a dark alley, pressed his back against the wall, and held his breath. The drone stopped for a second, then moved away. Elias waited until its sound faded, then ran again. His destination was the old metro tunnels, a forgotten network under the colony where refugees used to hide. He knew he could disappear there for a while. As he reached the entrance, his wristband beeped. A small holographic image appeared. It was the same unknown sender who had messaged him earlier. The face was hidden under a hood. The voice spoke quietly. "You saw it, didn't you? The dossier. Now you know why they're hunting you." Elias's hands shook. "Who are you?" The voice paused. "Someone who was part of the same project. If you want to survive, go to the coordinates in the file. The truth is there. And remember, trust no one." The hologram blinked out. Elias looked down at the drive in his hand, feeling the weight of it. That small piece of metal now held something that could destroy the Federation. He took a deep breath and stepped into the dark tunnel. Behind him, the sound of engines grew louder. They were coming. But Elias was already gone, somewhere above in the silent city of Veganine. The wind carried his name through the streets, and in a hidden command room, a voice said quietly, "We found the leak. Begin Phase 2. The tunnels under Veganine were cold and endless. Water dripped from broken pipes, and the air smelled like rust and dust. Elias moved carefully through the darkness, holding a small light in his hand. His heart was still beating fast from the chase. Every sound made him turn. Every shadow looked alive. He didn't know how long he had been walking. The tunnel stretched for miles, forgotten by the people who lived above. Once, they had carried trains and workers. Now, they were home only to silence. Elias stopped to catch his breath. He pulled out the data drive from his jacket and looked at it again. It was small, silver, and ordinary, but inside it was something that could change everything. He could still hear the words from the hologram. "Go to the coordinates. The truth is there." He took out his wristband and opened the coordinates from the dossier. The map showed a location near the dark side of Vega's moon. He knew getting there would not be easy. Civil ships were monitored, and Federation patrols scanned all cargo leaving the planet. He would need help. He remembered an old friend named Rhea Solin. She used to be a pilot for the Resistance before the Federation broke them apart. If she was still alive, she might know how to get him off the planet. Elias opened a small transmitter and sent out a coded message. "Rhea, it's Elias. I need a ride. Urgent. Don't trust open channels." And he waited. For minutes, there was nothing. Then, a faint voice came through the static. "Elias Ward, I thought you were dead." He smiled a little. "Almost I need to leave Veganine now." "Leave? That's suicide. Federation scanners are everywhere." "I have something important, Rhea. Something they don't want anyone to see." There was silence again, then her voice changed, softer but serious. "Meet me at Dock C-47 in 1 hour. Don't bring anyone. And if I smell trouble, I'll shoot first." The signal cut off. Elias packed his gear and started walking toward the exit tunnels. The way was long and risky, but he knew every turn. Years of fixing systems had taught him the layout of the old metro. When he finally reached the surface, the city lights looked far away. Almost like stars behind fog, he moved through the alleys, hiding in the shadows. Federation patrols were scanning the streets with drones. Every few minutes, he could hear their robotic voices echoing through the air. Unauthorized activity detected. Search in progress. Elias kept moving until he saw the docks in the distance. Giant ships stood silent, glowing under blue lights. He spotted Dock C-47 near the edge, an old cargo ship with the name Storm Chaser painted on the side. Rhea was already there, wearing a pilot's jacket and scanning the area with a handheld device. Her hair was shorter now, and her eyes looked tired but sharp. Elias walked closer. "You haven't changed." Rhea turned quickly, pointing a small blaster at him. "You're late, and you look like trouble." "Both true," Elias said quietly. She lowered the weapon but didn't smile. "You said you had something important. What is it?" Elias looked around before speaking. "Proof. The Federation lied about first contact. They've been doing experiments, human and Corin hybrids. I have the evidence." Rhea frowned. "That's impossible. The Corins are our allies." Elias opened his hand and showed the drive. "Then why are they hunting me for this?" Rhea looked at the drive for a long time, then nodded slowly. "Get inside. We'll talk once we're off the ground." They climbed aboard the Storm Chaser. The engines were old but powerful. Inside, the ship smelled of oil and metal. Rhea sat in the pilot's seat, running checks on the controls. Ilya sat beside her, watching the radar. "Flight clearance?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "We can't get clearance. We go dark," Rhea sighed. "Just like old times." The ship lifted quietly, its engines humming. They slipped into the dark sky, avoiding the main traffic routes. For a moment, everything was calm. Elias looked out at the stars and felt a strange sense of hope. Maybe they could really reach the moon and find the truth. Then the radar beeped. Rhea's face turned pale. Federation interceptors. 2 of them. They're closing fast. Elias felt cold. How did they find us so fast? Rhea cursed under her breath. They must have tagged your signal. Hold on. The ship twisted hard to the left, flying between cargo lanes. Blue beams of light shot past them. The interceptors fired again, and explosions lit up the clouds. The storm chaser shook violently, warning alarms screaming. Rhea pushed the engines to maximum. "We can't fight them, Elias. We run." Elias looked at the radar. The interceptors were getting closer. He opened the back panel and started working on the defense system. His fingers moved fast, rewiring circuits, bypassing locks. "Come on," he whispered. Just one pulse. The system came alive. He hit the switch. A burst of electromagnetic energy spread out from the ship, and for a second the radar cleared. Rhea grinned. Nice work. But their relief didn't last. One interceptor was still following, its weapons charging. Rhea opened a small box near her seat and handed Elias a strap. "Hold on tight." She flipped another switch, and the ship dropped sharply into the planet's shadow. The interceptor followed, but the darkness confused its sensors. Rhea used the moment to power up the warp drive. Jump in 3.2.1. A bright flash filled the cabin. The stars stretched into lines, and everything turned white. When the light faded, Vega 9 was gone. Elias leaned back, breathing hard. "Did we make it?" Rhea nodded. "For now? But wherever we go next, we'll have to be ready." "You said the truth is on the moon, right?" Elias looked at the drive again. "Yes, and whatever's waiting there. It might not be human." The ship continued into the dark space, the engines whispering against the void. Behind them, far away, the Federation was already tracking their jump. A voice in a hidden command room said quietly, "They're heading to the coordinates. Prepare the retrieval team." The storm chaser floated in deep space, silent except for the low hum of its engines. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction. The moon of Vega looked like a gray ghost ahead, half hidden by shadows. Rhea stared at it from the pilot's seat, while Elias checked the coordinates again. "We're close," he said quietly. "The dossier shows the base is under the surface, near the mare crater." Rhea nodded. "No official maps show any base there. Whatever this is, it's off record." Elias gave a small, tense smile. "That's the point." The ship entered the moon's orbit. As they moved closer, the scanners picked up something strange, a power signature deep underground. It was faint, but artificial. Rhea frowned. Someone's still alive down there. Elias looked at her. Or something. They landed the ship behind a ridge out of sensor range. The surface was cold and silent, covered with fine gray dust. 2 moons of Vega hung in the distance like pale eyes. Rhea and Elias suited up, grabbed their oxygen packs, and stepped outside. Their boots left long marks in the untouched dust. The location led them to a steep drop in the ground. Below it was a dark opening, half covered with rock and ice. Metal edges showed beneath the dust, like the mouth of an ancient door. Rhea pointed her light into the hole. "This place hasn't been opened in decades." Elias knelt and brushed away some dust. Old Federation symbols appeared, faded but clear. "Facility HX-11, he whispered. "It's real." They worked together to open the hatch. It groaned, the sound echoing into the dark. A rush of stale air escaped, carrying the scent of metal and something rotten. They climbed down a narrow ladder into darkness. Inside, the base was cold and silent. Lights flickered weakly on the walls. Dust floated in the air like ash. Every step echoed too loud. Rhea kept her weapon ready while Elias scanned the area with his wristband. "This place has its own power core," he said. "Old, but still active. Someone must have left it on purpose." They followed a corridor that led to a control room. Screens covered in dust came to life as Elias touched the console. Old logs began to play automatically. The first one showed scientists in white suits working around large tanks filled with blue liquid. Inside each tank floated something, shapes that looked human but not quite. Their faces were pale and strange, eyes closed, veins glowing faintly. Rhea stepped back. "What is this?" Ilias's voice was low. "Hybrids. The experiments mentioned in the dossier." Another log appeared, this time a meeting between human officers and Corran diplomats. Their voices were calm, almost friendly, but the subtitles told a darker story. The Corrans wanted human DNA for adaptation purposes. The humans agreed in secret. Rhea shook her head. They made a deal. "They traded our people." Elias felt anger rise in his chest. The Federation sold humanity for technology, and the next log started automatically. The camera showed chaos, alarms, red lights, people running. A scientist screamed, "They're breaking containment!" The tanks shattered, and something climbed out. Its skin was gray and smooth, its eyes black and empty. It moved too fast to be human. The video ended with static. Rhea turned toward Elias, her face pale. If those things escaped, they might still be here. Before Elias could answer, the floor beneath them vibrated. A low hum filled the air. Somewhere deeper in the base, something had woken up. "Power surge," Elias said. "We triggered the system." Rhea pointed her weapon toward the hallway. "Then we need to move now." They started running through the corridor, passing broken doors and old machines. The lights flickered brighter, and a voice came through the speakers, not human, not robotic. Something in between. Unauthorized presence detected. Identity unknown. Protocol Omega activated. Leah stopped. "That's the base AI. It's still active." Rhea grabbed his arm, then shut it down before it kills us. They reached another room, this one filled with servers and glowing cables. In the center stood a large machine, shaped like a sphere. The AI core. Elias rushed to the control panel and began typing fast, trying to override the security. The AI spoke again, colder this time. "You are not authorized. You are part of the contamination," Elias yelled. "I'm human. I'm here to uncover the truth." The AI paused, then answered, "Humanity lost the right to truth when it betrayed its own." The lights dimmed, and a metallic sound echoed behind them. Rhea turned her weapon. From the shadows, something moved. A figure stepped forward, tall, humanoid, but its skin was gray and rough like stone. Its eyes glowed faint blue. It looked at them silently, then spoke in a distorted voice. "You shouldn't have come," Rhea fired. The shot hit the creature's chest, but it didn't fall. It only staggered and kept walking. Elias grabbed a metal rod from the floor and swung it as the creature came closer. Sparks flew, and the sound rang through the hall. The creature grabbed Elias by the arm, its grip strong as iron. Rhea fired again, hitting its head. This time, it fell, but its body didn't bleed. It broke apart like glass, leaving behind a thin metallic shell. Elias breathed hard. "It's not alive. It's a construct." Rhea looked around. If one's still active, more could be. Elias finished typing the last command on the console. The AI core glowed red, then shut down with a loud hiss. The lights went out, leaving them in darkness again. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then a faint sound echoed from somewhere deep in the base, like breathing. But it wasn't human. Rhea whispered, "We need to leave." Elias nodded. "Not yet. There's one more chamber ahead. It's marked as primary subject. The last log said it was the key." Rhea stared at him. "You still want to go deeper after that?" Elias looked at the drive in his hand. "If this is the truth, it could change everything. I need to see it with my own eyes." They moved slowly toward the last chamber, the air around them thick with dust and fear. Behind them, the shadows shifted again. Something else was awake watching them, and as they reached the heavy door marked primary subject, a small light on the console flickered on by itself. A voice whispered from the darkness, almost human this time. "Welcome back, Elias Ward." Elias froze when he heard the voice. The sound came from inside the sealed chamber. It wasn't loud, but it carried a strange, familiar tone, almost like someone who knew him. Rhea raised her weapon, eyes scanning the room. "How does it know your name?" Elias stepped closer to the door console, his fingers shaking slightly. "I don't know." The console blinked with old red lights. The system showed a name, Subject 0, status, containment breached, mindlink active. Rhea frowned. Mindlink. What does that mean? Before Elias could answer, the voice spoke again, calm and eerie. "You shouldn't have come here, Elias. They'll find you soon." Elias swallowed hard. "Who are you?" There was a pause, then the voice replied, "I am what they made from you." Rhea turned sharply. "From him? That's impossible." Elias felt his chest tighten. He entered the override code, and the heavy metal door slid open with a hiss. Cold vapor rolled out like fog. Inside the chamber was a large pod connected to dozens of cables. The glass was cracked. Pale blue liquid leaked onto the floor. Inside the broken pod lay a figure human-shaped, but with gray skin and silver veins running across its body. Its eyes opened slowly, glowing faint blue. Elias took a step back. The face looked like his own. Rhea whispered, "Oh my God." The clone, or whatever it was, stood up weakly. Its voice was softer now. "They took your DNA, Elias. You were part of the first test group before you even joined the Federation. They erased your memories." Elias shook his head. "No, that can't be true. I was never part of any experiment." The clone smiled sadly. "You were. I am proof. They needed a mind strong enough to survive the merge. You were that mind?" Rhea looked between them. "Merge with what?" The creature's eyes glowed brighter. "With Corran consciousness. They tried to create a bridge between our species. A shared intelligence. But they failed. Only one connection survived me." Ilias's hands were trembling. "Why would they do that?" "To control both sides," the clone said. "To make humans and Corrans one mind under their command. You were their key, Elias. They kept your memories locked so you wouldn't remember what they did." The room fell silent. The low hum of machinery echoed around them. Rhea lowered her weapon slowly, unsure what to believe. Elias finally spoke, voice shaking. "If you're really part of me, why are you still alive?" The clone looked at him with strange sadness. "Because they couldn't kill what they didn't understand. I escaped during the breach. I've been waiting here, waiting for you to remember." Elias's thoughts spun out of control. Images flashed in his head, bright lights, pain. Scientists speaking words he couldn't understand, and a strange feeling of another mind inside his own. He grabbed his head, breathing fast. "I remember something." Rhea caught his arm. "Elias, stay with me." The clone stepped closer. "They're coming, Elias. The Federation knows you activated the base. They'll erase both of us to hide what they did." Elias looked up. "Then we expose them. I have the drive. I can send this to the entire network." The clone shook its head. "If you send it from here, they'll trace the signal instantly. You need to go deeper to the main transmitter in the core." "It's the only way," Rhea sighed. "Of course it's never easy." Elias nodded slowly. "Show us the way." The clone turned and led them through another passage. The walls were darker here, covered with strange markings, part human code, part alien symbols. The air felt thicker, almost alive. As they walked, Rhea whispered, "Can we trust him?" Elias didn't answer. He wasn't sure himself. They entered a wide chamber filled with cables and glowing spheres. In the center was a tall structure, the main transmitter, still humming faintly after decades. The clone walked toward it and placed a hand on the surface. The machine responded with a deep pulse. "This is the heart of the network," the clone said. "It connects to every Federation channel. Once you send the data, Everyone will know the truth. Elias plugged in the drive and began the upload. Lines of data started filling the screen. Rhea stood guard near the door, her weapon ready. Then the floor shook. A deep rumble echoed from above. Dust fell from the ceiling. Rhea shouted, "They're here!" The clone looked up. "They found us faster than I thought." Elias kept typing. Just a few more seconds. The sound of engines roared through the tunnels. Bright lights cut through the darkness as armored soldiers appeared at the far end. They opened fire. Energy beams hit the walls, filling the room with sparks. Rhea returned fire, hitting one soldier and ducking behind a pillar. "Elias, hurry." The upload bar reached 95%. The clone moved to protect Elias, standing between him and the soldiers. Energy shots hit its body, but it didn't fall. Its skin glowed where it was hit, absorbing the light. The soldiers stopped firing for a moment, confused. The clone turned its glowing eyes toward them. "You cannot stop what has already begun." It raised its hand, and a wave of blue energy burst from its body. The soldiers were thrown back like rag dolls. The entire chamber shook. Elias shouted, "It's overloading!" The clone turned to him, voice fading. "Finish it, Elias. Show them the truth." The upload bar hit 100%. A loud chime echoed through the room. The transmitter glowed brighter, sending a pulse of light that shot upward, straight into the sky. The clone fell to its knees, its body flickering like broken glass. Elias ran to it. "Wait. What happens now?" The clone looked at him weakly. "Now, they'll come for you. You are the next step." Before Elias could speak, the clone's body broke apart into small particles of light that drifted into the air and vanished. Rhea grabbed Elias's arm. "We need to go. The base is collapsing." The floor cracked beneath them, alarm screaming. They ran toward the exit as the walls crumbled. The ceiling burst open, and light from the stars shone down as they escaped into the open moonlight. Elias looked back one last time. The base exploded behind them, a silent flash spreading through the vacuum. Rhea pulled him toward the ship. "Elias, we have to leave before they catch us." Elias nodded, but kept looking at the sky, where faint trails of light still glowed. Somewhere out there, the truth was spreading, and the Federation was watching. Inside his head, a faint voice whispered once more, "It's not over yet." Storm Chaser raced through the empty dark of space. The explosion from the moon still glowed far behind them like a dying star. Inside the ship, everything shook as Rhea pushed the engines to full power. Elias sat quietly in the co-pilot's seat, staring out the window. His hands trembled. The small data drive was gone now, destroyed with the base, but the truth had already spread. He had uploaded it to every open channel before the collapse. Somewhere across the colonies, millions of people were seeing the files, the experiments, the lies, the hybrids. The secret was no longer secret. Rhea glanced at him. "You did it. The whole galaxy knows now." Elias nodded slowly. "And now, the Federation knows who did it." She sighed. "Then we run." Again. The ship's radio came alive with a burst of noise. Emergency broadcasts, alarms, voices shouting over each other. "Unverified data leak. Federation denies involvement. Reports of unrest on several colonies." Rhea turned it off. "They're trying to clean it up. They'll say it's fake." Elias leaned back. "They always do. But people will remember. Once truth is out, you can't unsee it." Rhea didn't answer. She focused on the controls, but her hands were shaking too. The silence grew heavy between them. Then Elias spoke again. "Do you think the Corans knew everything?" Rhea frowned. "If they didn't, they do now." That upload went everywhere. Elias looked down at his wristband. The skin around it looked strange, faint lines glowing under his veins. He rubbed it hard, but the light didn't fade. Rhea noticed. "Elias, what's happening to your arm?" He pulled his sleeve down. "It's nothing. Maybe radiation from the base."
Eh?
But he didn't believe it. He could still feel something inside him, a pulse that wasn't his own, a quiet echo of another mind. The last words of the clone repeated in his head. "You are the next step." He tried to ignore it, but the whisper came again, softer this time. Elias, we are not done. He closed his eyes and gripped the seat. Rhea looked worried. You okay? Yeah, he lied. The ship's sensors beeped. Rhea checked the screen. Federation intercepts incoming. 2 warships. Elias opened his eyes. Already? They must have tracked the transmission. She hit the controls. Hold on. The storm chaser spun sharply as bright beams shot past them. Explosions flashed outside the window. The ship's alarm screamed. Rhea cursed under her breath and dove through a debris field. The warships kept firing. One beam grazed the back of the ship, and the lights flickered. Elias jumped to the system console, trying to reroute power. Shields are dropping fast. Rhea shouted, "We can't outrun them forever!" Then a strange pulse hit the ship, not from the enemy, but from Elias. The lights glowed blue for a second, and every system reset on its own. The targeting sensors of the enemy ships went blind. Rhea stared at him. What did you just do? Elias looked at his hands. They were glowing faintly again. I don't know. Do that again? I don't even know how I did it. The glow faded, but it was enough. Rhea used the moment to jump to warp. The ship vanished into the black. When they reappeared, everything was quiet again. The warships were gone. The storm chaser drifted in the dark, engine heat fading slowly. Rhea turned to him. Elias, what's happening to you? He looked down at his hands. I think the connection didn't die with the clone. It's inside me now. She frowned. You mean that alien consciousness thing? Elias nodded. It's not alien exactly. It's both. Human and Corran. The merge they wanted? I think it worked. Rhea stood up. So you're saying you're part of their experiment? I'm saying I might be their experiment. He touched the side of his head. For a moment, he could see flashes places he had never been. Stars he didn't know. People speaking in a language that wasn't human. And then a voice echoed again, clearer this time. They will come. We must unite before they erase us. Elias gasped and grabbed the console. Rhea rushed to him. Elias, talk to me. He looked at her, eyes glowing faintly blue now. They're not just coming for me. They're coming for everyone who knows the truth. The Federation isn't trying to silence us. They're preparing for war. Rhea stepped back. War? With who? The Corrans, Elias said quietly. But not the ones we know. The ones who refuse to merge. The pure ones. They want control back. Rhea sank into her chair. This keeps getting worse. Elias turned to the console and started scanning for signals. There's a Corran relay near the rim colonies. If I can connect with them, maybe I can stop this before it starts. Rhea stared at him. You think they'll listen to you? You're half human. Elias gave a small, sad smile. That's exactly why they might. She didn't argue. She just nodded and set the new course. Rim colonies it is. The ship moved silently through the stars again. Rhea focused on flying while Elias sat quietly, his thoughts spinning faster than light. Inside his mind, he could hear whispers, hundreds of voices, human and Corran together, like two sides of one mind slowly merging. It was both beautiful and terrifying. Then he saw something, a flash of the future. Burning cities, falling ships, humans and Corrans fighting in the void. The same blue light spreading like fire between them. He opened his eyes, breathing hard. Rhea looked at him. What did you see? Elias whispered, the war has already started. They just don't know it yet. Rhea gripped the controls tighter. Then we'd better find a way to end it before it reaches us. The stars outside blurred as the storm chaser entered warp again. Somewhere far behind them, Federation Command was already mobilizing fleets. On one of their ships, a cold voice said through the comms, Elias Ward is to be captured alive. He is no longer human. He is property of the Federation. And deep inside Elias's mind, the alien voice spoke one last time. They will call you a weapon, but you were meant to be the bridge. The storm chaser came out of warp near the rim colonies. The stars here were dim, and the planets looked like dark stones scattered across a sea of shadows. Rhea adjusted the ship's course toward a small moon orbiting a gas giant. It wasn't on any Federation map, but the Corran signal was strong there, a hidden outpost. Elias sat quietly beside her. He hadn't slept in 2 days. The glow under his skin had grown brighter, spreading from his veins like liquid light. Sometimes when he closed his eyes, he could hear voices, not one, but many. They whispered in both human and Corran language, mixing together into something new. Rhea looked at him carefully. "You're changing, Elias." He gave a weak smile. "Yeah, I can feel it. I'm becoming what they tried to create. Does it hurt?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, but it feels like I'm being pulled in 2 directions. One human, one something else. Both sides fighting for control." She didn't know what to say, so she said nothing. The silence between them was heavy, filled only by the soft hum of the engines. As they approached the moon, sensors picked up several heat signatures. "There's a fleet down there," Rhea said. "Corran ships. Looks like they're getting ready for something big." Elias stared at the readings. "They're preparing for war." Before Rhea could reply, the ship's came alive with a voice. It wasn't human, it was deep and melodic, echoing like it came from water. "Unidentified vessel. You have entered Corran airspace. State your purpose." Elias leaned forward. "My name is Elias Ward. I need to speak to your commander. It's about the Federation and the experiments." There was a long pause. Then the voice said, "We know your name." "Land and be unarmed," Rhea whispered. "They know who you are." "That's not good." Elias looked calm. "Maybe it is." The storm chaser landed in a wide valley filled with blue mist. Strange towers rose from the ground, glowing softly. Corran soldiers surrounded the ship, their armor sleek and alive with faint energy lines. Rhea stayed close as they stepped outside. One of the soldiers spoke. "You are the human who carries the merge." Elias nodded. "I came to stop the war before it begins." The soldier tilted his head. "The war has already begun." They led him into a large chamber built from silver stone. Inside was a tall Corran leader, his eyes glowing with the same blue light as Elias's veins. His voice was calm, but powerful. "You carry what was stolen from us." Elias looked straight at him. "It was never yours. It was meant to unite us." The Corran leader frowned. "Unite. The Federation used our knowledge to enslave. They twisted our creation. The merge was supposed to bring peace, not control." Aya stepped forward. "Then why are you preparing to attack?" "Because peace was taken from us," the leader said. "And we intend to take it back." Elias shook his head. "If you go to war, billions will die. Both sides will fall. That's what the Federation wants. Chaos to hide the truth." The leader looked at him, silent for a long moment. Then he said, "And what do you want, Elias Ward?" Elias took a deep breath. "I want to finish what they started the right way. I can feel both sides inside me now. Human logic and Corran memory. Maybe this is what we were meant to be." The leader stepped closer. "You think you can unite 2 species alone?" Elias met his eyes. "Not alone, but I can show them what we could be." Before the leader could respond, alarms echoed through the chamber. A guard ran in shouting, "Federation ships! They found us." Rhea cursed. They must have tracked us again. Outside, the sky turned red as Federation cruisers broke through the atmosphere, firing beams at the ground. Explosions shook the valley. Elias grabbed the leader's arm. "Stop your soldiers. Let me talk to them." The leader hesitated, then nodded. "You have one chance, hybrid." Elias ran outside with Rhea. The air was full of smoke and light. Dropships landed, and soldiers poured out. Drones circled overhead. Through the chaos, a giant hologram appeared in the sky, a Federation admiral's face. "Elias Ward, you will surrender. You belong to us." Elias shouted back, his voice carried by the Corran amplifiers. "I don't belong to anyone. The truth is already out. You can't hide it anymore." The admiral's expression didn't change. "Then you will die with your secret." The Federation ships charged their weapons. The ground shook again. But before they could fire, Elias lifted his hand. A blue wave spread from his body, glowing brighter than any weapon. The energy moved like a living thing, covering both Corran and human ships. Engines stopped. Weapons froze. The air turned silent. Rhea stared at him in shock. "Elias, what are you doing?" His voice was calm now, almost peaceful. "Ending it." He looked up at the sky, and for a moment, everyone, soldiers, aliens, machines, stopped moving. The light connected them all, mind to mind, like a single heartbeat. Elias spoke again, his voice echoing through the link. This is what they feared. Connection, understanding. No more lies. No more walls. Rhea felt his voice inside her head, warm and steady. She saw flashes of his memories, his pain, his hope, and she realized he wasn't just talking to them. He was showing them what humanity and Corrans could become together. Then the light grew too bright to see. When it faded, the battlefield was silent. The Federation ships were gone. The Corran soldiers stood still, their weapons lowered, and Elias was nowhere to be seen. Rhea looked around, calling his name, but only the wind answered. The leader stepped beside her and said quietly, "He chose to become the bridge." Above them, the sky shimmered faintly blue, a signal spreading across the stars. On every world, humans and Corrans saw the same light. And for the first time, they didn't feel fear. They felt connection. Rhea stood in the quiet valley, watching the horizon glow. "You did it, Elias," she whispered. "You changed everything." Far beyond the stars, a faint voice answered inside her mind. "It's not over. It's only beginning." And the light kept spreading.